Chapter 17, the final chapter, all this long time. Remember in chapter 16, Uncle Henrik was telling Anna Marie that the packet was important because inside was a piece of cloth, a handkerchief. And inside the handkerchief, they put this drug, and this drug would stop the smelling of a dog because they were using dogs to find where the Jewish people were hiding. So Anna Marie saved the Rosens, saved Uncle Henrik, and saved many more people by taking that to Uncle Henrik. Because remember, they were hiding the Jewish people in boats and taking them out, but the Germans were using dogs to sniff and find them. But this stopped that. Anyway, chapter 17, all this long time. The war would end. Uncle Henrik had said that, and it was true. The war ended almost 2 long years later. Anna Marie was 12. The war ended in 1945. Church bells rang all over Copenhagen early that May evening. The Danish flag was raised everywhere. People stood in the streets and wept and cried as they sang the national anthem of Denmark. Anna Marie stood on the balcony of the apartment with her parents and sister and watched. Up and down the street and across on the other side, she could see flags and banners in almost every window. She knew that many of those apartments were empty. For nearly 2 years now, neighbors had helped and tended the plants and dusted and cleaned the furniture and polished the candlesticks for the Jews who had left and fled. Her mother had done so for the Rosens. It is what friends do, Mama said. Now neighbors had entered each unoccupied, waiting apartment, opened a window and hung a symbol of freedom there. This evening, Mrs. Johansson's face was wet with tears. Kirsty was waving a small flag. She sung. Her blue eyes were bright. Even Kirsty was growing up. No longer was she a light-hearted chatterbox of a child. Now she was taller, more serious and very thin. She looked like the pictures of Lise at 7 in the old album. Peter Nilsson was dead. It was a painful fact to recall on this day when there was so much joy and happiness in Denmark. But Anne-Marie forced herself to think of her red-headed, almost brother, and how devastating the day was when they received the news that Peter had been captured and killed, executed, by the Germans in the public square at Rivingen in Copenhagen. He had written a letter to them from prison the night before he was shot. It had said simply that he loved them, that he was not afraid, and that he was proud to have done what he could for his country and for the sake of all free people. He had asked in the letter to be buried beside Lise, who he was going to marry, Anna-Marie's sister. But even that was not to be for Peter. The Nazis refused to return the bodies of the young men they shot at Rivingen. They simply buried them where they were killed and marked the graves only with numbers. Later, Anna-Marie had gone to the place with her parents and had laid flowers there on the bleak, numbered ground. That night, Anna-Marie's parents told her the truth about Lisa's death at the beginning of the war. She was part of the resistance too, Papa had explained. Part of the group that fought for our country in whatever ways they could. We didn't know, Mama added. She didn't tell us. Peter told us after she died. Oh, Papa, Anna-Maria cried. Mama, they didn't shoot Lise, did they? The way they did Peter in the public square with people watching? She wanted to know it all, but wasn't certain that she could bear the knowledge. It would be too difficult for her. But Papa shook his head. She was with Peter and the others in a cellar where they held secret meetings to make plans. Somehow the Nazis found out and they raided the place that evening. They all ran in different ways, trying to escape. Some of them were shot, Mama told her sadly. Peter was shot in the arm. Do you remember that Peter's arm was bandaged and in a sling at Lisa's funeral? He wore a coat over it so that no one would notice, and a hat to hide his red hair. The Nazis were looking for him. Anna-Marie didn't remember. She hadn't noticed. The whole day had been a blur of grief and sadness. But what about Lise? She asked. If she wasn't shot, what happened? From the military car, they saw her running and they simply ran her over. They ran her down with the car. So it was true what you said, that she was hit by a car. It was true, Papa told her. They were all so young, Mama said, shaking her head. She blinked, closed her eyes for a moment, and took a long, deep breath. So very, very young, with so much hope. Now, remembering Lise, Anne-Marie looked from the balcony down into the street. She saw that people below, amid the music, singing, and the sound of the church bells, people were dancing. It brought back another memory, the memory of Lise so long ago, wearing the yellow dress, dancing with Peter on the night that they announced their engagement, that they were going to get married. She turned and went to her bedroom, where the blue trunk still stood in the corner, the box of Lisa's things, as it had all of these years. Opening it, Anne-Marie saw that the yellow dress had begun to fade. It was discoloured at the edges where it had lain for so long in folds. The yellow colour is going. Carefully, she spread open the skirt of the dress and found a place where Ellen's necklace lay hidden in the pocket. The little Star of David still gleamed gold, the one she took off Ellen to protect her. "Papa," she said, returning to the balcony where her father was standing with the others, watching the rejoicing and celebrating crowd. She opened her hand and showed him the necklace. "Can you fix this? I have kept it all this long time. It was Ellen's." Her father took it from her and examined the broken clasp. "Yes," he said, "I can fix it. When the Rosens come home, you can give it back to Ellen." "Until then," Anna-Maria told him, "I will wear it myself." That's the end of the book. Congratulations. Now, I will admit, when I read this book for the first time, it did make me cry a little bit. So we learned that Lise and Peter were together in the resistance against the Nazis. So they sacrificed their lives so that people could live, so that the Jews could escape. And it's very sad. And that Anna-Maria still has the necklace, the Star of David, the Jewish symbol, in her room, and that she's going to wear it until she sees the Rosens again. So I really hope you enjoyed this book, and it's one of my favorite books. And thank you for enjoying.